Hello, Galaxy! I'm Chris Pirillo, and you're watching the Locker Gnome Daily Report, or TLDR for short. I am streaming live every night on Twitch. Feel free to join me and the rest of the community over there. We're geeking out about one thing or another, and what was it? Yesterday? I finally got, and I say finally because, you know, everybody else on the planet seemed to have received one before I did. I got a Google Pastel 6 Pro, which, of course, I fun-boxed for everybody. Don't know if you caught that. And then this morning I streamed live on YouTube, at least at the time that I'm recording this particular video, talking about my initial impressions of the Google Pastel 6 Pro. And I thought I would give you a comparison of my experience with the Pastel 6 Pro and the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra. I've been using the S21 for how long? 6 months or so. It's been a while. And I switched from a Pixel 4 XL to the S21, thinking that when I got the Pixel 6 Pro, it is the Pixel 6 Pro. I joke because Material U on Android 12, specifically on the Google Pixel, is all pastel. So this is like the Pastel 6 Pro. No way around it. If you don't like pastel, good luck. Of course, if you use Samsung, good luck. It's a Samsung inside joke. Either way, I was expecting when I got this that I'd be flipping to it, like switching to the Pixel 6 Pro within like a few hours of getting it set up. That said, I'm not so sure. Now, I don't know if this means that suddenly I've become more of a fan of what Samsung has been doing with hardware and software, or just that I'm not really, what's the best word to use here? Blown away by this iteration of the Pixel. I've been a Pixel fan for years, specifically because of what Google did with the software, and that's probably why my initial impressions with the 6 Pro were so muted, for the lack of a better term, watered down. I wasn't as impressed as others might have been, coming from earlier Pixels, but certainly in comparison to the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra. This has been a good device. Like, so good, so solid, despite its array of shortcomings, that there's nothing that's causing me such amazing pain that I felt like I needed to jump to another device immediately. I feel like I'm still in play, like in terms of what they call a daily driver would be, but I'm not so sure the Pixel 6 Pro is it. Like, if I had to give an assessment in terms of what it was that I would want to use today, after using the Pixel 6 Pro for a day, I'd probably choose the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra over the Pixel 6 Pro, despite me liking the pure software experience that Google has in the 6 Pro. Oh, no, sorry. I'm triggering Google left and right. Triggered! Okay, so I thought I'd run down... Thank you. I don't need a search. I'm doing a video. Can you... Thank you. Obviously, you can use the Google Assistant. I don't use Bixby on the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra. So, here's a rundown of some comparisons that I've been making in my experience. Lag. This is something I'm very sensitive to. I've been sensitive to this going all the way back to the days of, like, Windows Vista, at least. Right in that era. I can say that while the Samsung experience is not completely lag-free, it does have lag with Android 11. It's not as dramatic, or it's mitigated in such a way where normally where you'd have a frame drop on a Samsung screen, the screen, like, smoothly judders a bit, but it's not as jarring as the lag that you might get on any other Android device, a typical Android experience. Chrome, by the way, is laggy across all devices. Twitter is horrible, absolutely ghastly. The Amazon app, just as bad, but not nearly as bad on the Samsung device compared to the Pixel. Even scrolling on the launcher, and I'll get to the launcher in a second, there's lag. Some of this could be mitigated in software. That's what they always say. Well, it's going to be fixed. You don't know. We don't know. I can't judge this based on what this device is going to be 6 months from now. I'm just judging from what it is now. My choice is right now. What am I going to use right now? What am I seeing right now? That's all I can do is talk to my experience. And I'm telling you, the Pixel 6 Pro got lag. It's got lag in all sorts of areas. And I'm not even talking about just random glitchiness. Some have suggested that if you do a fresh install without, restoring a backup, then the glitchiness disappears. I don't know about that. I haven't had any app crashes necessarily. I think that mitigates app crashes potentially, but the slop that I've seen on Android 12 existed throughout the Android 12 beta on the Pixel 4 XL. So I don't think it's anything related to. I think that Android 12 may need more time to bake. That's entirely possible. But the lag is very apparent in various spots. Though that said, both of these devices, I don't know what their specs are specifically, but both of them are very fluid. The screen is very responsive in general on both the devices. They're both very usable in that sense. It's just that the lag is definitely a lot more pronounced in a lot more spots in various apps on the Pixel device compared to the Samsung device. And I'm telling you, I noticed these very small differences. And to me, lag is the first thing I look for in a device. Like frame drops, animation judder, like what's smooth, what's not smooth. I'm going to go with the smoothest device that I could possibly get. So right now, that is the primary reason I'm probably going to sideline the Pixel. So these are written at random. I've been doing camera comparison tests, and we'll be hosting those videos in the coming days between the Pixel 6 Pro, the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra, as well as the iPhone 13 Pro Max with iOS, 15.1, whatever they're on now. So I'm kind of surprised. The Pixel camera on the 6 Pro doesn't really seem to be that much better. I mean, maybe even in some ways worse than the Pixel 4 XL was. I know that sounds weird, but like when I'm doing comparisons, I'm like, wow. I mean, there's some shots the Pixel does very well on, and some shots that it doesn't. And there are times that I'm like, oh yeah, the night mode on the Pixel sometimes works better than the Samsung, and other times it doesn't. It's kind of shocking. So the camera is the thing that drives people to the Pixel, or should. That software experience is the thing that drives people to the Pixel, or it should. And those two things, I'm not seeing. And I've been using these devices, the Pixel series, for years. And I'm just saying that wait until the camera comparison videos come out and you can judge for yourself. But to my eyes, yeah, it's almost a wash. I'm not saying one is dramatically better than the other, or one is dramatically worse. I did try the Magic Eraser tool, which, by the way, I don't know why that's a Pixel exclusive. It should just be baked into Google Photos, especially if you're paying for Google One. Maybe at one point that feature will be in. It's pretty cool. It's pretty neat. It works really well compared to Samsung's. Samsung's is still within the range of gimmicky, and Google's done a very good job with the Magic Eraser tool. But that's just a minor point in relation to the camera output, the actual photos that you take. Stay tuned for a full test on that. Voice typing, the Google Pixel, it has always been fast, snappy, immediate, perfect, or darn near perfect. I love the voice typing of on the Google Pixel. Samsung's works, especially when you use the Google underlying, the platform to power it. But it's slower. Not like snail's pace slow, but it's definitely a lot slower, like night and day slower. And I use voice dictation all the time. And like after I finish typing or talking, I want to go. And you can do that with the Pixel. You can't do that with the Samsung. So that's definitely something that I noticed with the Pixel 6 Pro. I have to look at it like I'm trying to remember what the hell it is. Fingerprints, I keep cases on it, no big deal, but I believe that the Pixel 6 Pro definitely attracts a lot more fingerprints without the case on. I pointed out in the fun boxing yesterday. I don't remember the Galaxy Ultra attracting that many fingerprints immediately. The next thing I was going to talk about, dark mode. This is also something I look for because I'm a pure black dark mode, like AMOLED dark black. Black dark mode. Samsung absolutely wins. Samsung's all over true dark mode. True dark mode is black. And that's what Samsung does. Google is like, you get a kind of pastel gray. Grayish, darkish, but not really true dark. It's just darkly. So that, between the two dark modes, I would choose the Samsung Galaxy Ultra. Launcher, the default launcher experience, as Android has been known to have problems with every single third-party launcher. Every one of them. There are issues. It's specifically the way, I guess, the way that Android's implementing the Nav Bar lately. There are just glitches with third-party launchers that don't exist with first-party launchers. And between the two, the Pixel launcher is definitely needing a lot more baking, a lot more time in the oven. I feel we've lost a lot of customization features in the Pixel, specifically with the release of Android 12. I don't care what they're doing with the Pirillo. It's a pretty cool idea. I question the implementation. The launcher is kind of messy. No real way of organizing things rather than manually having to do it, versus the Samsung Galaxy launcher, which I feel is a lot more, not just configurable, but cleaner. It's a better experience on the Samsung. Smoother, a bit smoother, but cleaner. And then, of course, when you download GoodLock, which you should do for the Samsung Galaxy Ultra, and then download the modules within it, it's like an unofficial Samsung app made by Samsung in the Galaxy Store. You need it on your Samsung device. The Pixel needs something like GoodLock or Tweak UI if you remember the Windows 95 days. It doesn't have it. So between the launchers, I have to use the default launchers because of the glitches in Android with all third-party launchers. Definitely the Samsung. Navbar Experience, night and day. On the Samsung device, just like other Android OEMs, you can hide it entirely. They call it gesture hints or whatever. Easy to turn off and get out of the way, so there's consistency between the apps because app developers are not on the same page. So there's a lot more consistency with turning off the nav bar because you know where it is anyway on the Samsung device. Unfortunately, there's still a great amount of sloppiness with the nav bar inconsistencies on the Pixel. One example right now, Chrome. The nav bar doesn't have a transparent background, but like in other apps, it does have a transparent background, right? And it's app contingent, and it's just not clean. And even when you swipe up in the app switcher, it doesn't look clean between the apps. They just look like at the bottom and the top, it just looks off, versus on the Samsung device, especially with task switching the way I've set it up in GoodLock, so they're more capsules rather than full screen screenshots that you have on the Pixel. It's easier and faster for me to do the things I need to do. Forget the speed of the device. The experience is just far better on the Samsung Galaxy Ultra for my time compared to the Pixel 6 Pro. And the nav bar is certainly a part of it because, of course, you're navigating between apps. Split screen. I use it every day when I do the inspirational, motivational videos that I post on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. I put them everywhere. Thank you for watching them. A lot of people really get a lot out of them. And the split screen, even though it's on Android, needs a lot of work. Now, maybe Android L, which is right around the corner, will improve that somewhat, but it's really bad on the Pixel, like really glitchy and really kind of half-baked compared to the way Samsung has executed it specifically on the Galaxy Ultra. Like, it's just more fluid, more intuitive, faster, better to use, easier to use. So between the split screen stuff, which I use now every day, definitely the Samsung. Notifications. The notifications aren't as bad as I thought they were. I think the snooze button should be moved a bit to increase the Pixel usage in a notification on the Pixel. Maybe it's just that I don't like how notifications are displayed on the Pixel compared to the Samsung. Because again, I like the black stuff. I want the notification to be there, but not to jump out at me in a capsule. And I feel I get that with the Samsung Galaxy Ultra, even natively, compared to the native notification feature in the Pixel. Everything seems to get cut off and cropped in such a way on the Pixel that I don't feel like the notification center is as usable as it is on the Samsung Galaxy Ultra, including the shade, right? You've got you pull down your options, and you've got circular buttons, so you get more options on one screen at one time versus these large capsules on the Pixel. So again, that's not just a design choice, it's a usability choice. I have more options at my fingertips. It's not about memory mapping, and like remembering where everything is. It's just the usability of using this large screen. It makes more sense the way that Samsung's been doing it than the way Google's made their change. Now, granted, they're probably going to back, what they say and say, oh, well, more people appreciate it. Okay, I'm not sure I do. So if you like it, that's awesome. I'm just telling you my experience, and I don't like the way that the notification shade and the notifications and what have you render on the Pixel compared to the S21 Ultra. In terms of customization, Samsung's definitely got it over the Pixel. Pixel's trying to go middle of the road, very bare bones. They don't give you a lot to explore, a lot of native stuff that you don't even have to download for, versus the Samsung, which every time I turn around, I'm like, oh, cool, that's a little feature I didn't know existed. Wow, that Samsung could have done a better job at surfacing it. Samsung's packed their devices with a lot of options that you don't need to download for. It's just they've thought through, and they've really added a layer of value on top of Android. Now, app bloat, Samsung loses because Google's just pure Google, and Samsung gives you things that you kind of already have or would already use, and they don't allow you. I mean, you can install them side by side. You can hide apps in the launcher. You can ignore all the Samsunginess on a Samsung device, and I'm telling you, you can do it. I've done it. It's relatively easy to do. Otherwise, I wouldn't be sitting here saying that the Samsung software is better than the Pixel software, but it's true. So customization, I feel Samsung is definitely ahead of the game, not just with the good lock experience, but just those small touches. Hiding the nav bar, that's just one example of other things they've added. The gesture design, animations between the two, they're both fluid. I feel Google's more straightforward. Samsung's doing some funkiness. I don't know why they mess with animations. I wish they wouldn't. Samsung's got to really clean things up with animations. They're not horrible, but it's just the consistency of animations on the Samsung device I wish were better. Still fluid, but the animations are just not consistent on Samsung versus the Pixel 6 Pro. That doesn't take me out of the experience, though. The fingerprint scanning, fingerprint sensor. A lot of people have been complaining about the the Sixel fingerprint scan. I haven't had too many issues. There have been times I've had to rescan the fingerprint, but no more than I've had to rescan my fingerprint on the Samsung in-display reader. So at this point, they're about, or have been about the same for me in terms of speed, in terms of being able to use. I gotta be, direct with you. I haven't run into that many issues with it in the past day, and I've been unlocking with the fingerprint a lot. In terms of screen size, they feel about the same, very, very large. Charging speed, it's been, I guess, demonstrated that the Pixel charges slower, even on a fast charging cable, compared to the Samsung, so that's nice to know. I wish this did charge faster, but I rarely need to use a fast charge during the course of the average day. Battery life, haven't really had a chance to experiment. I guess the battery life I've heard on the Pixel 6 could be pretty questionable. That does concern. Maybe they will continue to tweak that with future software updates, but the Samsung Galaxy Ultra, I can get through an entire day with heavy use and not worry about it. In terms of speakers, the audio quality on the Pixel 6 Pro is really impressive. In fact, I think I prefer the speaker on the 6 Pro more than the Samsung. Like, it's a richer sound, especially when you're listening to voice. Forget about the video recording being able to isolate the voice audio on the Pixel camera. I mean, the actual speakers themselves, I like the Pixel 6 speakers more so than I like the Samsung speakers. And I do use the speakers, especially when I'm watching video on the go. So I would definitely say that the Pixel 6 Pro has it over that. The always-on display, cannot stand the always-on display on the Pixel because it's this giant clock. When I don't have notifications, let me swipe them all away here. It's this giant... I don't like a clock like that. I know, 5:27. I get it. Yeah. So about a half hour before we give away the Prusa Mini Plus on the live stream on Twitch. So here's the notification. This is the don't have to swipe away the notifications here, but I always have this clock that I can see that's nice and bold and big, and I can read it immediately without thinking. 5:27. Like, I love the always-on display on the Galaxy versus the Pixel. And there's no customization on the Pixel right now too either. And when you're not looking at it, that thicker font goes thin too, which is annoying as hell. But it's the way that Google's decided to do it. No tweaking. In terms of overarching experience, so far, like I said, my initial impressions of the Pixel weren't that good. I mean, I was just like, I don't know if I really want to switch to this. So with the Samsung, I was immediately drawn into it to the point where, okay, my Pixel 4 XL was busted. I'm like, I'm going to try this. And I felt like it was a better experience, like almost immediately. Like, wow, I really like this. I could get used to it. I could work through things, and I really like how Samsung started to do things. Not everything. I'm not giving them a pass, but between the two, for out-of-the-box experience, I would give it to Samsung, specifically the S21 Ultra, for fluidity, for the general lack of lag that hasn't necessarily been tweaked. General camera performance, I've run into other issues with the camera, the 6 that I'll detail with that particular video in the coming days. So to me, I felt like I was ready to upgrade to the S21 Ultra immediately, and I'm not saying that the Pixel 6 Pro is a step backwards from the S21, but I'm not sure I want to switch to the 6 Pro. I'm going to use it, I'm going to keep it, I'm going to, keep my eye on it. I'm going to, work it into my workflow in some way, shape, or form, whether using it as webcam. I've talked about that software before as well, or what have you. Stay tuned for more. I don't know if I addressed the thing that you wanted to know about the Pixel 6 versus the S21 Ultra, but I'm always talking about this stuff on live.pirillo.com.